was curious, scrolling through the internet, got bored and was wondering what are the top 10 selling fragrances in the US right now. Of course, there's no way I could, accumulate all the data of the whole entire planet, with COVID and whatnot. So I thought, well, people are probably buying online. And the majority of the people who watch these videos buy from discounters. I did an aggregate or a combination of all of the data that I could find from the most popular websites that people buy from. And this list, this is the top 10 best-selling fragrances online right now. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? My name is Joshua, and this is our channel, ScentSense. To all loyal subscribers and the sensations who continue to watch these videos every time they come out, to you fine folks, wherever you may be, thank you so much. And to all you people who are maybe checking out the channel for the very first time and you haven't decided what you want to do, I'm not Tom Brady. I'm not going to take you to New Orleans and get raffle stomped and lose like a gazillion to 3. I won't let you down. As I said in the beginning, these are the top 10 selling fragrances from a list of websites that the average online buyer will buy from, especially the ones who are part of the fragrance community and the ones who watch videos like this one. The websites I used were Fragrance X, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy, and Max Aroma. Basically what I did was if it was a #1 selling fragrance, they got 10 points, all the way down to number 10 who only got 1 point per website. And there was a tie at the bottom where each fragrance maybe had 6 or 7 points. Whichever one was on the most websites' top 10 lists, that one got the nod. So without further ado, here are the top 10 selling fragrances online. Oh, quick disclaimer. I don't own all 10 of them. I do own alternatives to some of them, like flankers or fragrances that look a lot like those bottles. So no, when I hold up the bottle, I'm not necessarily holding the one that's on the list. So keep that in mind in case, you're one of those people who scroll and fast forward through the video and you're like, oh, that's not the fragrance that it's supposed to be. That's why, okay? So calm down. At number 10 is one of the very first fragrances that I ever bought because it smelled a lot like a fragrance that you could buy in every mall across America that was super popular, and Jeremy Fragrance even got his own bottle with his picture on it. That fragrance is called Fierce, and this fragrance is called Montblanc Legend. This fragrance has spawned a bunch of flankers such as Legend Spirit, Legend Night, Legend Intense. This is a woodsy, slightly fresh, mass appealing, easy to wear, cheap fragrance. If you're looking for one that won't hurt the wallet, that's not super expensive, go check out number 10 of the most selling fragrances, Montblanc Legend. Number 9 is a fragrance that I also do own that's super popular, that's super easy to wear, and in my opinion takes all the best components of Acqua di Gio Profumo, Dior Sauvage, and all the fragrances that smell like it and mixes it up in one batch. From the house of Versace, which is a house you hear a lot about on this list, at number 9 is Dylan Blue. Dylan Blue was Versace's answer to the blue craze, the Dior Sauvages, the Prada Luna Rossa Carbons, the, Coach for Men, all the ones that were trying to have that blue and Broxen craze. This was their answer to that. And this, in my opinion, takes the best of all of them. Doesn't do any of them better, but does all of them just as good, or almost a little bit less. But overall, a better complete package from the house of Versace. Another one that's not super hard in the pocketbook, easy to wear, mass appealing, from the house of Versace, Dylan Blue. At number 8 is the only fragrance that I don't own or own a flanker of. It's from the house of Calvin Klein. It's an older fragrance. A lot of older men buy it, I'm assuming, and a lot of grandmas buy this for their husbands. This is an oldie, but apparently a goodie. From the house of Calvin Klein, Obsession. Calvin Klein's Obsession for Men is a classic, old school, guy's guide kind of fragrance. This is one that made those older ladies go crazy, man. This is the one that cool dude who shows up at your wedding reception, walks in like, what's up, girl? What's up, girl? What's up, girl? That guy, you know, he's got like the big beeper on his side. You know, he still has a beeper for some reason. He's got the enormous cell phone. He might have like the gold chains and necklaces, you know, kinked up right here. He's got those super shiny leather shoes. That guy who's busting up the bar, trying to get with all the young girls. Obsession for men. I don't own the fragrance that's at number 7, but I do own 4 of the flankers, as you can see here. And it's a classic, but I think it's tired. At one point, and probably overall, the best-selling men's fragrance of all time, Acqua de Joe was known as the lady getter. Panty dropper, liquid panty dropper. You know, you wore it to a club, every girl liked it. And back then, when you had frosted tips and, you know, stainless steel ball necklaces and Doc Marten boots, it was cool. I find that DNA has gotten a little tired. And as you can see, there's been multiple flankers that have come out for it. And I find that these flankers are much better. And also better suited for today. Coming in at number 7 from Giorgio Armani, Acqua de Joe. At number 6 was one of the most popular and pioneering unisex fragrances out there. It's also from the house of Calvin Klein, which is a cheaper house. From the house of Calvin Klein, CK1. Like I said, this is CK Everyone, so it is a flanker of CK1. CK1 came in a bottle just like this, but it was frosted. You've had a lot of flankers such as Shock, CK Everyone, CK I mean, there's like a ton of them. I do find that one to smell very, very appealing, but it never lasts. It's not one I would suggest you buying. I would not suggest you throw that money off a cliff. Buy that one that I just showed you, or buy something else from this list. It's a good smelling fragrance. It just doesn't perform at all. At number 6 from the house of Calvin Klein, CK1. At number 5 is the second Versace fragrance to check in on the list, and this is a summer staple. I do not own a bottle that is not a tester. I own a tester, that's why there's no cap. But nevertheless, this one works all the time, cap or no cap. From the house of Versace, Versace's Man Eau Fraiche. Man Eau Fraiche is a super easy to wear, fresh, clean, bright summertime fragrance. This is one I think can work any time of the year because the woodsy elements in this do work really well. I find in the autumn months, especially here in South Louisiana where it's still quite warm, this one really works. One of my coworkers smelled this on me some time back. This is now his signature scent. I don't wear it nearly as much because I wouldn't want to smell exactly like him, but alas, this one really works. From the house of Versace, Man Eau Fraiche. Next up is yet another tester bottle. I do have a couple other bottles of it, but this is the only one that I was able to grab quick because, you know, we have families and lives when it comes to life, and I try to do this as quick as possible when I make these videos. Nevertheless, enough of that rambling. From the house of Versace, my favorite fragrance of all time, Versace's Pour Homme. Often compared to Allure Homme Sport from Versace, I find that this fragrance just really works. Date night, summertime, fall, winter, spring, suit, casual, it doesn't matter. This is one of those most versatile fragrances that just work. I've worn this for every special occasion. I think it's a great, awesome fragrance, and you should definitely check it out if you haven't. From the house of Versace, an easy blind buy, Versace Pour Homme. At number 3 is a fragrance that is a pioneer of the soapy, freshy fragrances. This one came out in the 90s, and this one was like worn by everybody. I mean, this one just really was the bomb. It's often compared to a fragrance from Creed, if you figured it out at this point. The fragrance we're talking about from the house of Davidoff is Cool Water. Now, this is not the regular Cool Water. This is actually Cool Water Intense, but we all know what Cool Water smells like. It smells a whole lot like Green Irish Tweed. Green Irish Tweed and Cool Water both have that same earthy, soapy, fresh nature. It's something that is super easy to wear, mass appealing, people pleasing, and slightly gentlemanly. It really worked in the 90s, and apparently a lot of people just won't let go, and they just really like their cool water. It's a dumb reach for bros who have 1 to 2 fragrances. It's one of those ones that are super cheap and easy to wear, and you don't care how much you spray it because it costs you barely anything. The House of Davidoff, cool water. At number 2 is another fragrance that I don't own, but I do own the flanker of. The flanker that I own, I find is a great cheapie, a great freshy cheapie that is often overlooked. I don't suggest you to buy this before eternity. Well, now you know what it is. From the house of Calvin Klein, the fragrance we're talking about is Eternity, and this one is Eternity Aqua. At number 2, Eternity was a popular men's fragrance that pretty much everyone knew what it smelled like, and it was pretty much in the air everywhere. This was what I like to call a transition fragrance that people wore after the Dracor Noirs and those really heavy, dense fragrances started to get a little less cool, a little less popular. Eternity is one that I would suggest you get for your dad, your uncle, your much older brother, somebody who is more mature and still likes those slightly older fragrances. Like I said, this is something that's caught in between those 80s powerhouse fragrances and the late 90s, early 2000s fresher fragrances. That's why I think Eternity Aqua is a better choice. But if you want to buy something that apparently is super popular, but it works for older gentlemen, go check out Calvin Klein's Eternity. At number 1 is a fragrance I was quite shocked about. It was literally in the top 2 or 3 of everyone's list. This one just apparently a lot of people like, a lot more than I knew. And it's quite funny because amongst the fragrance community, we shun this fragrance. When I say we, I mean the collective whole. I personally don't. I own it, clearly. From the house of Versace, Versace Eros. Versace Eros is a quintessential staple clubbing, date night, cold weather fragrance. This minty blast really works. It's named after Eros, goddess or god of love. This is apparently a fragrance that a lot of women really like. As far as frag heads, people would be like, I spit on you, I hate this fragrance, it is so crazy, terrible. But the reality of the situation is it just works. And this kind of proves it's really popular. So, at number 1 in the top 10 selling fragrances online, Versace's Eros. There you have it. Those are the top 10 best-selling fragrances on the internet, on those websites that you and I and everyone who collects fragrances buys from, and apparently a few older people do too. If you'd like to go ahead and buy some fragrances from these websites, I'll leave the links below. I don't have an affiliate link. I don't get anything for it. I'm just showing you the websites I used. If you made it to this point of the video, unless you're just really into self-torture, I think you liked it. So if you did, go ahead and show me and YouTube that you liked it by clicking that like button. And while you're at it, scroll over a little further with your mouse if you're using a computer or your finger, click the subscribe button, and while you're at it, right next to it, click the notification bell. That way when my videos come out, you, yes, you, will be the very first to know. Go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. How many of these do you own? And as always, and most importantly, folks, I'll smell you later. Peace.